Well, good evening, everybody. I'm Olesko, and welcome to the Greenwich Village Folk Festival. It is April. It's our first concert of the spring, and we're so glad you're with us. And you picked a perfect night to be here, because we have an outstanding lineup. And we also have an outstanding co-MC. I am so excited that Marilyn Ray Beyer is going to be with us today. I remember listening to Marilyn on WUMB and just falling in love with the music that she chose. And then she's moved on. She's on WFMT on the Midnight Special, taking over the longest-running folk show in the country, which is also now simulcast on folkmusicnotebook.com. Well, not simulcast. But we aired on Friday nights, the week after, so you can check her out there. And she'll be on in a little while to share the duties with me tonight, introducing our artist. For those of you who are new to the Greenwich Village Folk Festival, welcome. This is an event that actually started back in 1987 in Greenwich Village. It originally was live in front of audiences in the village. It took a little hiatus, and then in 2020, during the pandemic, it was returned. Ray Mysick and Rod MacDonald got back together and created this virtual festival every month. And even though the pandemic is more or less behind us, we're still continuing with this. And we're doing it because of the wonderful folks like you out there who have supported us. Now, this is a free festival, but there is a tip jar. And if you'll see the information being posted in the chat features on both YouTube and on Facebook. And you can also go to greenwichvillagefolkfestival.org to find out more information and to make your donation. All the money's raised to help keep this event going and supports all of the artists that are here tonight. So, without further ado, let's begin. I have the extreme honor of introducing our first performer for tonight's event. Oh, wait, actually, you know what? Before I introduce him, I forgot to say everybody that's coming up. Give me 1 second here, because we've got an incredible lineup. We're going to hear from David Amram later tonight, David Essig, Abby Posner, David Massengill, Antje Duvekot, Chuck Brodsky, Friction Farm, Michael McNevin, Rachael Sage, and now our first guest. As I said, I am so honored to be able to introduce our first performer for tonight's event. Back in 2019, he was inducted into the Folk DJ Hall of Fame by the Folk Alliance International. He's the longtime voice of folk radio in Michigan and beyond. In addition to his local show, he's hosted folk radio programs for Sing Out Magazine, Folk Alley, and he was also one of the first hosts that I approached to join us on Folk Music Notebook back in 2019, where he continues to hold court every Tuesday evening on the channel. And his latest project is as producer and host of an outstanding podcast called No Root, No Fruit. It presents a history of folk, roots, and Americana music, each episode focusing on a seminal album that is examined by Matt and his guests. Check it out wherever you find your fine podcasts. Matt does so much more than only playing music on the radio. He lives and breathes folk music as a performer as well. He has an extensive song bag that he draws from on stage, and he sings and writes songs with compassion, inner strength, humor, and everyday living. I'm lucky to be able to call him a friend and to have this opportunity to welcome to the Greenwich Village Folk Festival, Matt Watroba.
Thank you, Grandpa Ron. I sure do appreciate it. Oh, what a thrill it is to be among this company of folks, people that I've been playing on the radio for years. And it's my absolute pleasure to play some music for you today and be part of this great festival. I'm going to begin with a song I'll send out to one of our performers, the guy who writes the best baseball songs, Chuck Brodsky. I thought maybe since it is opening weekend for baseball, I'll sing my baseball song. I wrote this about Tiger Stadium that used to stand on the corner of Michigan Avenue in Trumbull in my town of Detroit, Michigan. And it's a little different in Detroit. When we decide to tear down a stadium, we let it sit there for about 6 years so it dilapidates before our eyes. Then we finally tear it down, and then we stare at the hole for another 6 years and before we finally do something in that area. But one day I was driving home from my radio show, and I looked up at that old stadium in about 4 years of dilapidation and thought they used to play baseball here. It had so many memories for me, and this is the song I wrote for it. Drive on through the broken gate, past the booth now still and dark, where Once the cars were bathed in light spilling over from the park. I'd flip my keys to Jim or Steve, find my seat and have a beer. But this old house is coming down. They used to play baseball here. The stadium has moved downtown, leaving nothing on the street. They traded in a neighborhood for a corporate box or suite. I know it's good for business, that point has been made clear. But this old house is coming down. They used to play baseball here. On game days we would stand outside in a line curled round the block. But Gracie's eggs were worth the wait, and I loved the baseball talk. I'd marvel how the morning hours would somehow disappear. But Gracie's place is coming down. They used to serve breakfast here. The new joint's out on exit 5. You don't have to stand in line. They traded conversation for a convenient place to dine. I know it's good for business, that point has been made clear. But this old house is coming down. They used to play baseball here. I know we're moving forward, and I guess we probably should. But there's a cost for what we've lost when things are gone for good. The barber shop near Gracie's was a gathering for guys. Between innings on the radio, they spent hours spinning lies. A ring of smoke, a dirty joke for over 40 years. Now Saturdays are not the same. They used to play baseball here. And this old house, it's coming down. They used to play baseball here. Thanks so much. Always a risk, you know, to play songs like that. The old joke is, you know, how many folk singers does it take to screw in a light bulb? And the answer's 2, one to do it, the other one to sing about it forever. So, you know, sometimes just, it's okay to look back as long as you don't stare. This is a song that I wrote back in 2017 when I realized that half of my Facebook friends unfriended the other half of my Facebook friends. And it's just pointing to this great, what I call, you know, sort of a false divide that we have in this country. And I wanted to write a song that sort of addressed that. And so this one is the one I came up with. Could you love me if I don't look like you? Is it deeper? Is it stronger? Something hidden, something true. If I stare a little longer, will I see myself in you? Could you love me if I don't look like you? Could you love me if I don't think like you? Is it deeper? Is it stronger? Something hidden, something true. If I stare a little longer, will I see myself in you? Could you love me if I don't think like you? This life's a burning candle, and it would be a shame if we ignored the difference between the smoke and the flame. Could you love me if I don't pray like you? Is it deeper? Is it stronger? Something hidden, something true. If I stare a little longer, will I see myself in you? Could you love me if I don't pray like you? This moment is a miracle, so why not find a way to be here and be grateful that we share another day? Could you love me if I don't? You, is it deeper? Is it stronger? Something hidden, something true. If I stare a little longer, will I find myself in you? Could you love me if I don't love like you? Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks so much. And, thanks to Ron for mentioning the new podcast. I am really excited about that. It has been really fun. I just completed my 19th episode, all about Stan Rogers' record, Between the Breaks Live. And my guest for that are two people, Garnet Rogers, he was there, and John Gorka, who used to, of course, work at the Godfrey Daniels Coffee House in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and was profoundly moved and inspired by Stan Rogers' work. I just did John Prine's first record. It's just been so much fun to do this, so check it out. No root, no fruit. I'll end with a little song here that I wrote. Actually started getting the idea for this song at my grandmother's funeral. She lived this long, beautiful life. She into her 80s, and I realized as I was singing, as we all sing, because when you're the folk singer in the family, you're the funeral singer and the wedding singer and the anniversary singer. As I was singing, I could see my grandma's love in every single person in that room, and I thought to myself, one way to live forever is to love as much as you can while you're alive. That's one way to be sure that that love goes on. And I always wanted to write something in a bluegrass quartet style. And I'm a lot of things, but I'm not a quartet. So if you guys have any of these lines by the end of it, make sure you're muted and sing your ass off. I'll build from the lessons I learned in my youth. How will I lead and open my eyes and my heart to the truth? That's how I'll leave this earth. How will I leave? How will I leave this earth? When it comes my time to go, how will they measure my worth? I will live on those that I touched while I lived in this journey of life from my death to my birth. That's how I'll leave this earth. It's choice and not chance that has brought me along. How will I leave? And showed me the difference between right and wrong. That's how I'll leave this earth. How will I leave? How will I leave this earth? When it comes my time to go, how will they measure my worth? I will live on those that I touched while I lived in this journey of life from my death to my birth. That's how I'll leave this earth. Some say we'll live on up in heaven above. How will I leave? I will live on through the ones that I loved. That's how I'll leave this earth. How will I leave? How will I leave this earth? When it comes my time to go, how will they measure my worth? I will live on, and those that I touched while I lived in this journey of life from my death to my birth. That's how I'll leave this earth. In this journey of life from my death to my birth, that's how I'll leave this earth. Looking forward to spending the rest of the evening with y'all. Thanks so much.
Matt Watroba, what a gift he has for bringing us together, doesn't he? Thank you, Matt. Really just lovely to hear you. My name's Marilyn Ray Beyer. I am incredibly honored that Rod McDonald and Ray and Ron Olesko invited me to be part of the party. This is wonderful. Thank you so much. And, you know, our next artist is quite a character. I recently actually met up with her in Chicago, where I'm the host of the Midnight Special at WFMT.com, for those of you who are not listening, who can't listen in Chicago. So yes, she's quite a character, or maybe I should say that she creates and illuminates characters in her poetry and her songs. In fact, she even has an album entitled Character. Well worth getting to know this lovely woman. In fact, I invite you now to settle in and meet Rachael Sage.
Thank you so much for that lovely intro. And good to see you again. We were hanging out in Chicago just a few days ago, so it feels like a nice reunion. I'm going to start with an up-tempo number that is all about just living life to the fullest. And I'm noticing that I look very pale on my screen. It's something in my settings, but we're just going to pretend, you know, that I have more color in my face, so none of you worry at home.
Hey, Rachael.
This is called Alive. I am Frida waiting for Diego to arrive. I am microfilm being pulled from the archive. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's good to be alive. I'm a Paris runway underneath the couture dress. I'm an innocent man and the killer just confessed. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's good to be alive. It's good to be alive. Good to be alive. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Good to be alive. I am the Olympics where nobody ever cheats. I'm losing my virginity in purple satin sheets. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's good to be alive. Hold me like a candle flickering inside the dark. You save me like the daughters on Noah's floating ark. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's good to be alive. It's good to be alive. Whoa, whoa, it's good to be alive. It's good to be alive. Born and revived. Oh, whoa, whoa, it's good to be alive. Imaginary violin solo. I am Frida waiting for Diego to arrive. I am microfilm being pulled from the archive. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's good to be alive. You hold me with the gravity of Siberian snow. Oh, the light in you is all I'll ever need to know. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Be alive. It's good to be alive. It's good to be alive. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's good to be alive. It's good to be alive. be alive. Thank you. I'm blowing up the mic just a little bit. I didn't have quite as much energy at the sound check. I hadn't eaten dinner yet, so just gonna lower that a little bit. Well, it's great to be part of the Greenwich Village Folk Fest because I happen to live most of the time in Greenwich Village and part-time in Hudson Valley. And I've lived in the village for, I don't know, maybe 25 years or so. So I feel like it is very much my home. And I'd say party at my place, but I haven't figured out how to do that virtually yet. This next song, I feel like I have to do it tonight. I want to do it because I collaborated with the wonderful Antje Duvekot, and she's coming up very soon. And she helped me make this incredible video for it with stop motion animation. And it won a little award, not so little actually, a pretty big award a few weeks back called the Winter Film Awards. So cheering for Antje and her incredible creativity. And it's called Revelation Ground. So you guys can sing along at home. And for, the folks who are getting ready for Passover, aka Pesach, feel free to give it a little flair. half my darkness, in the lull of my light, in the shroud of my solace, I hear fight, fight, fight. Thank you so much. The weather has been so erratic lately. I'm up here in Beacon, New York right now. And I just slept from the city, so my guitar's going a little mashuggy. Thank you for your patience. I'm practicing all my Yiddish today in anticipation of my Seder. I don't really speak much Hebrew, although I did have a bat mitzvah many years ago. But I do sing occasionally in Yiddish, and it's my way of trying to just feel a little bit closer to my grandparents, who I sadly never knew. So there are a lot of unanswered questions, as you might imagine, about why my parents are the way they are. And I like to imagine that they're listening to me in Kvelling when I sing this song that I learned, no joke, purely with the intention of impressing Mandy Patinkin at a National Yiddish Theater benefit a few years ago. I was told I was going to perform right before him and that I'd better learn a Yiddish song because that was the order of the day. And I knew none, but people just assumed at the theater company that I did because I guess I'm just super Jewish in general. So I had to quickly do my homework, and I learned this beautiful song that I proceeded to then make my own and turn it into kind of like a Patti Smith Yiddish punk tune. This is called Umru Mina. And I should tell you that Umru Mina means my unrest. So it's basically an obsessive Yiddish love song. Von Bursche Benke, so nach dir Hassan. Es geht doch nicht, wegen Nacht, das Tag. Und noch ich trag von dir und noch ich träum von dir. Und ich von dir. Leben meinst du hast in mir. Du, meine du. Du, meine du. That's the sing-along part. Tell me why I long so much for you. Never a day or evening passes by without thoughts, dreams of you are my heart. Without thoughts, dreams of you are my life. You, my unrest, only you. You, my unrest, only you. Thank you. 3 songs, right? Yes. Thank you so much for listening and for having me.
3 great songs, by the way. Thank you so much, Rachel. It's always a joy to hear you. And I hope some of our viewers will check out Rachel's website on April 19th. There's a schedule, and she'll be appearing at the Hard Luck Cafe in Huntington, New York, on the 20th at the City Winery Loft in Philly. And I know we've got a few friends in the UK, and she'll be doing a tour in the UK this coming May. So check it out. And she's got a new album out called The Other Side, which will be coming out soon. We look forward to playing that on the radio.
Yay! Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Oh, what a great night this has been so far, and there's more to come. I'm so glad you're all here with us tonight. Hope you're having a wonderful Sunday evening, and I can't wait to hear this next artist. The first song that I heard our next guest sing was a piece called Jersey Jail. Now, being a New Jersey native and host for a radio show here in the state, it certainly caught my ear. What also caught my ear was this gentleman's knack for storytelling. He possesses a keen attention to detail and an ability to illuminate moments that we might have overlooked in what would seem to be, ordinary things like mundane jobs or everyday situations. And he really captures our attention and opens up our perspectives on things. And he always delivers his song stories with heart and humor. He's a winner of the Kerrville New Folk Award in Texas, performing Songwriter Magazine DIY Artist of the Year, and a 7-time Grand Finals Song of the Year winner for the West Coast Songwriters. And in addition, he's created a community space as owner of a shop called The Mud Puddle, which is located in a former barber shop in his native Niles, California. Stop in if you're there. You'll find some great music, some great people, and plus you'll get a chance to view Michael's Etch-a-Sketch drawings that hang on a wall. That's providing an earthquake doesn't shake things up first. Well, I know you're going to enjoy having your senses shaken by him tonight. Here is Michael McNevin.
Thank you, Ron. That was wow, you pulled all the stops out on that one. That's quite a bio. Thank you so much. Good to see everybody. So many friends in the room who are playing. I see friends waving. This is great. Yeah, I'm in Niles. I'm at home right now. I'm in my trailer. This is my little trailer spot, and about a block from here is the Mud Puddle. A kid I used to play ball with, a Little League ball, since it is baseball season. I'm not going to do Jersey Jail, but I got another busking song for you. That was Jersey Jail is an old song about busking in New York when I was a kid in 1985. I've got another one I'm going to do for you, but right now I'm going to start with this kid, Mike Santos, and I were friends. My brothers and his brothers hung out quite a bit in the neighborhood. We were on the same team together, and then we started turning into teenagers. And his house was the house to hang out at. Just want everybody to know, everybody turned out okay in this song as we became teenagers. It's called Young Santos. Young Santos started smoking at the tender age of 12. Menthol's on the swing set, 3 o'clock to the dinner bell. Latchkey brothers ran the roost, raid the fridge and raise some hell. The Santos house was open season when Daddy drove the Peterbilt. Leroy took the long hauls. A week or two he got good pay. Kept the kids in bikes and shoes. They missed him when he drove away. And Judy picked her battles. She lost them all the same. The boys are more like Leroy, getting bigger every day. She called Leroy on the CB. Come back, Leroy, are you there? We sure miss you, sweetie. Kids say hi. Kids say hi. The The oldest had a dry and brag trade and $1 million smile. The middle one had a temper fit for any middle child. They both tenderized young Santos in the hallway to see if he would cry. Eventually he didn't, so eventually they didn't try. Mornings on the kitchen phone, her best friend made her laugh. She lost her in the canyon, never quite got over that. She called Leroy on the CB. Come back, Leroy, are you there? We sure miss you, sweetie. Kids say hi. Kids say hi. Kids say hi. Divorces were a fad that year. All the parents got one. Motors, weights, and vinyl, distractions for the Santos sons. And she kept to her bedroom with her Boone's Farm soaps and sweaters. Judy's job got easy when she gave up altogether. It all went by the wayside, the Friday nights and double dates. And Leroy kept her guessing somewhere on the interstate. She called Leroy on the CB. Come back, Leroy, are you there? We sure miss you, sweetie. Kids say hi. Kids say hi. Kids say hi. Young Santos started smoking at the tender age of 12. He's the one behind the barbecue, living up in Reno now. Leroy landed in Manteca. He's got an acre for his truck. I hear Judy's doing it wild. She's working down at Casper's. I hear she changed her luck. I hear she changed her luck. I hear she changed her luck. Feels like an open mic. I get nervous with 2 or 3 song sets. I absolutely I become an old open micer I was. I used to go in Jersey. I lived in Jersey City. I was 21. I split college and went to play the streets of Manhattan. And I'd go into Folk City, and Sunny Oaks was the host. And that's the first time I met her. Was in '85. She was very nice. She settled me down. So I'm going to do one now about a busker. This isn't a New York busker. This is a guy who has the bright idea in the middle of winter, instead of going to, say, Florida to make some money on the streets, he decides he'll go to Michigan because there's no competition. Sometimes we're the punchline to a joke of our own doing. Pratfall at the curtain call, clowns going down from rags to ruin. Coulda rode off into a sunset. Instead we crash into a drum set. Shake it off, make them laugh till they cry. It's a comedy. Vaudeville, gotta tighten up my act. Oleo's over, headed for the bar and back. I'm bombing here, time to take a bow. Get out of town any way I know how. Tomatoes don't hurt, but the stains stick around for my comedy. Mercy, but it ain't no coup de grace. It's either a hook or a ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. And a tramping we will go. Whistle to me, hobo, got a little water dough. Detroit or bust, hitchhike in the winter, cheaper than airfare. Save it for the cookware and camping stuff to get me by. Drill a hole in a lake and try to catch a walleye. And now the polar bears are laughing at me too. It's my comedy, vaudeville on ice, vaudeville on ice. Ice fishing in Michigan, living on the glass. I'm gonna be a good citizen and haul away my trash. I got a winter shanty now, cold brew, hot brats. Warm cot gas heat, disembarking on the street. Get your free tickets to a front row seat for my comedy. Vaudeville on ice, vaudeville on ice. Coke bottle cheaters reading Melville at night. 3 months of winter in the vaudeville lights. Who owns a lake? Is the warden on the take? Just a bunch of frozen water, can't you leave a clown alone? Hey Mac, I used to be a squatter, but now I call it home. For my comedy, vaudeville on ice, vaudeville on ice. Mercy, but it ain't no coup de grace. It's either a hook or a ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Abbott was a straight man, Costello got the laughs. Maybe I could find a partner and get another bowler hat. So much. Got time for another one, I think. And yeah, Niles is where Charlie Chaplin filmed The Tramp, so we have a lot of Tramp history here, vaudeville history, and I was in a play in college called Come Back. It was called 10 Nights in a Barroom, in 1890s temperance drama, and I got stabbed in the middle of the play, and then they dragged me off on my feet. It took a long time to fall over. You know, they try to catch you, and you don't quite tie. Anyway, I want to let everybody know if they want to visit me, they can go to michaelmcnevin.com. And also, I've got Louise Baker helping me out with my booking now, Louise and Bruce Swan of Baker Booking. So if you go to bakerbooking.com, they're the people to let you know if I'm in your area, or if you want me to come to your area, you give them a buzz. Thanks. And this is one that she likes. I've got this picture back here. This is a painting a friend of mine did. She's a really gifted artist. This is a, what do you call a primitive, right? Can you see that okay? That's a primitive painting she did on her garden wall about 20 years ago. Her name's Kate Rasmussen. She's about 95 now, and I was hanging out with her playing dominoes in the cafe around the corner all the time. Her and her husband Sam was about 97. And they had us all over to their backyard once for a little summer party. And I asked her about that painting on her wall, and I completely forgot who told me the story about this. It was her, and that picture that spawned the question, but the story stuck with me for 20 years. And I finally wrote a song about that critter. This is my last one. I'll leave you with this. Thanks so much for having me. It's good to see you, Ron, and Brandon, thank you. And Marilyn, good to see you too. All my friends in here, have a good time, everybody. They call me Grishka. I was a Russian circus bear. I'm on my way back to Siberia. Yes, I am. I'm gonna pedal there. They taught me how to dance and ride. 3 shows every night. They turned their backs, and off I rode on my trusty circus bike. I sat up straight, went round and round, traded treats for their commands. I held on tight to the handlebars, used my feet like they were hands. I raced the pigs and the chimpanzees, but I know I'm not a man. Now for 30 miles I've pedaled straight, and they don't know where I am. They call me Grishka. I was a Russian circus bear. I'm on my way back to Siberia. Yes, I am. I'm gonna pedal there. Is it wrong to run away? Is this how a bear behaves? Ride through lanes of quiet neighborhoods in a silly gown and a silly hood. They make the clothes, they dress me up. I can't help how I look. Now if they don't recognize me, good. I'm gonna pedal right into the woods. They call me Grishka. I was a Russian circus bear. I'm on my way back to Siberia. Yes, I am. I'm gonna pedal there. Life beneath the big top canvas is all I've ever known. Trailers, cages, town to town. Sometimes you pass my forest home, and I'm not sure what I'll do now. It's a game of hide and seek. Maybe they'll just quit and go home too, and I'll spend the winter off my feet. Now I'm on a country path full of apple trees and farms. 2 horses see me kick their heels. How I could use a barn, but I can't stop to rest or drink. I gotta pedal till I'm gone. I do not know how close I am, but I smell the trees. It won't be long. They call me Grishka. I was a Russian circus bear. I'm on my way back to Siberia. Yes, I am. I'm gonna pedal there. The sky appears so much bluer than I remember as a cub. I sit down by a berry bush, not a hint of circus grub. Forest air runs through my fur like grass, my brown face against the sun. No finish line, just the forest pines. The only bicycle race I ever won.
Michael McNevin, it is so great to see you again. Oh my gosh, and happy to know that you're still painting those pictures and putting them in your songs.
Thank you.
And by the way, there are many, many, many more songs like these, and of course, there's a whole catalog of Michael McNevin songs, but the most recent Aluminum Oasis album has that song on it, and you can find much more about Michael and all of his artistic endeavors at michaelmcnevin.com. Michael mentioned Sunny Oaks. She is sometimes a host at the Greenwich Village Folk Festival, and I understand that the GVFF will be hosting the 40th anniversary of Phil Oaks Nights in October, so I'll be there for that, that's for sure. Now, this next duo, color coordinated, by the way, I've only gotten to know since I returned to my hometown of Chicago to host the Midnight Special, and I'm so glad I did, because Aidan, Quinn, and Christine Stay embrace every subject under the sun, from wide open spaces to your favorite cozy, comfy reading chair with your favorite book. And they always do that through the lens of a relationship that exemplifies mutual respect and harmony, and always with evidence of hope. So everybody, get ready to rub elbows with Friction Farm.
Thank you, Marilyn. That was really nice.
That was.
Well, you're really nice.
So we had our set all planned out, the 3 songs that we would do because of some current events. And then I was watching a little bit and chatting over on Facebook, and I noticed that our friend Becca is there. And Becca is from Nashville. And so we discussed briefly changing our set around, but we opted against it. So Becca, this would be a good time for you to get a snack, because I know this hits a little too close to home.
Two daughters, 9 years old, 5 3/4. I drop them at school, and I wave goodbye till they're with their friends and their teachers safe inside. Downtown there's traffic, we're all moving slow. I catch the news on public radio. I hold my breath and release. Not our town, not their school. Then I weep for the parents who just learned that this life is cruel. Calling one man a hero for what he has done. Put his own body between a child and a loaded gun. watch the evening news. There's no talk of mothers or children, just two sides in a fight we all lose. Calling one man a traitor for what he has done. Tried to put a law between a child and a loaded gun. I am a mother. I have two daughters, 9 years old, 5 3/4. We wrote that after Parkland, and we had been out of it all day long and turned on the television late in the evening. And it took us a long time to figure out what was happening because there were just arguments and no talk about the kids, just arguments between two sides. It was pretty crushing. So, we live in the Deep South, and we're coming up on April 4th. So I feel like I should tell you that in the Deep South, there's still a lot of monuments, the good kind of monuments, and streets being named and squares being named for our civil rights leaders. And it is a wonderful thing for me to see that despite all the sadness of that period, there is so much joy around celebrating those movements and that progress. So we chose this song, and I know he won't remember it, but we used to live in Greenwich Village, and we were at the Manhattan Song Circle, and I think that's what it was.
What's his name?
Whatever exchange. Anyway, you know, one of those things. And David Massengill was there. And we brought this song, and we said, something's wrong with this, but we don't know, we need help. And no one had really any constructive criticism. And then after a bit, David said, oh, I think if you change if to when, it will change the whole viewpoint of the song. And he was right. One word, it made all the difference. By the time we got to Birmingham, there was no one left to ask. The time for grieving had long since passed. Names of better angels carved in stone and brass. The mystic chords of memory, old heroes from our past. Happy anniversary, we gather in the memory of those who gave us hope and faith, the strength to be alive. Happy anniversary, happy anniversary. A day, a week, a month, a year, keep that dream alive. Early Monday morning, campaigners headed for the coast. The New Deal riding shotgun when the hauling ghost of the wind and rain and policy that blew through these towns. Raise the delta up, wash the bottom out. Happy anniversary, we gather in the memory of those who gave us hope and faith, the strength to be alive. Happy anniversary, happy anniversary. A day prophet to believe. His truth is not just what he says, but how he lives and it's only for the money, maybe for the show, but they are never at the ready. Well, that's the way things go. When we all are equal, what will they do then? When we have no need for power, just extraordinary men. Happy anniversary, we gather in the memory of those who gave us hope and faith, the strength to be alive. Happy anniversary, a day, a week, a month, a year. Keep that dream alive.
Thank you very much. Can I have a sip of your water? Mine's way over there.
I was thinking, we have this whole pile of happy and funny songs, and somehow we opted not to do those today.
It is what it is, man. So I do want to say thank you so much, Greenwich Village Folk Festival, for having us here. We get the great pleasure of seeing Rod in person later this month, which we're both very excited about.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah. But, during the heavy days of the plague, this was such a great place to gather and see people and to make music. And for everyone out there who's been supportive, you kept everything happening. You kept live music live. And so thank you. Never thought my daughter would still fight to speak her mind, to have a say in her own civil rights. But when men declare her voice categorically dismissed, there will always be women who persist. There will always be women who persist. There will always be women who persist. My forefathers came by ship, together with their clan. Architects of their own dreams, was this part of the plan? For every thug who guards the gate with a raised, clenched fist, there will always be men who coexist. There will always be men who coexist. There will always be men who coexist. One misguided spark falls on tinder to ignite a raging fire growing much too big to fight. Malicious mobs may tattoo numbers on the wrists. There will always be angels in our midst. There will always be
be an angel in our midst. There will always be, 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 there will always be angels in our midst.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Wow. Oh man, I've got goosebumps right now every time I hear that song. Oh, what a gorgeous song, and what an important song. Thank you, Aidan, Quinn, and Christine Stay. Friction Farm. Folks out there, please be sure to check their website as well, frictionfarm.com. They've got some great gigs coming up. If you're in Atlanta on April 15th, they'll be at Fiddler's Green. And I'm looking forward to seeing them at SURFA, the Southeast Regional Folk Alliance, in May. Christine is the current president of SURFA, and this is going to be my first time at the conference, and I'm really looking forward to it. So we'll see you there. Well, I also want to thank everybody out there who's been donating to our tip jar. You folks are terrific. You're the ones that keep this event going. Now remember, the Greenwich Village Folk Festival is a 501c3 organization, so your proceeds will go to help keep this event coming to you every month, and also support all of these artists that are appearing on this program. And don't forget, go to GreenwichVillageFolkFestival.org. You can donate there, or just look in the little box in the chat feature on YouTube or Facebook. Click on the link, and you can help out. This is a free concert. It's a gift to the community. But somebody's got to pay for the gift. So if you can help us out, it would be greatly appreciated. Well, it is April, and the baseball season has begun, which means any folk radio host worth their salt will be playing songs from this next artist. He's baseball's poet laureate. But his work is not just about baseball. Chuck writes and sings about life and justice by balancing humor and social commentary to provide little vignettes of lives and struggles of our times. His storytelling through song began in his native Philadelphia, where he learned piano as a child. Then he discovered the guitar in college. And by the late 80s, he was performing regularly and writing memorable songs that were often humorous, often political, and always captivating. Several of his songs have appeared in films and documentaries on places like ESPN, NPR, NFL Films, PBS, and his song Radio was featured in the film of the same name, also featured Chuck in an on-screen cameo. He is a Hall of Famer. He's a 2019 inductee into the Philadelphia Jewish Sports Hall of Fame for his songs about baseball, and 22 of his songs have been enshrined into the National Baseball Hall of Fame's sound recording archive in Cooperstown. His latest album is called Gravity, Wings, and Heavy Things. And now, stepping up to the plate, Chuck Brodsky. Yeah!
Thank you, Ron. That was great. Before I start, though, I have to ask Marilyn Ray Beyer if that's a hockey puck collection behind you.
Oh, no. Those are not hockey pucks.
They look like hockey pucks.
They are
I have a hockey puck collection to the side of me.
I'll explicate after your set, Chuck.
Okay. From here, they look like hockey pucks. Great to be part of the show. Great to get a chance to catch up with some old friends and hear a few folks that I've never heard before. So I'm going to start off with a simple song. Just a simple song about a couple of wings, about gravity and its effect on things. But just one wing, you go flapping around, but you'll never be able to get off of the ground. Takes two wings
maybe a prayer. If you do take off, just to stay in the air. Whether you start from here, or you start from there, it takes two wings to go anywhere. It takes two wings, or it won't fly straight. It'll just stay stuck in a figure eight. Points of view we can debate, but it takes two wings, or it won't fly straight. With two wings, you can look down at the angry mob terrorizing the town, and you might see things like you never could. With two wings, you might even see some good. Takes two wings, a leap of faith, a little respect, and a touch of grace. It takes trust, some luck and skill. It takes two wings and a little goodwill. Just a simple song about a couple of wings, about gravity and heavy things. You'll have your scrapes and you'll get your dings, but if it's gonna fly, it takes two wings. If it's gonna fly, it takes two wings. It takes trust, luck and skill. It takes two wings and a little goodwill. It takes two wings and a little goodwill. It takes two wings and a little.
Thanks. Back at the start of the pandemic, I can remember distinctly driving home from Florida, where I was when everything shut down, and I drove up my driveway up the mountain here in North Carolina, knowing that it was going to be a long time before I came back down again, and things would never be the same. And it was a time when there was so much fear and so much that was unknown still. We had no idea how long it was going to last. We had no idea if we'd see our loved ones again. My parents lived 650 miles from me, and I honestly had no idea whether I'd ever see them again. It was frightening. I didn't know if I'd have a career still. And so I was forced to do some thinking and confront all that. And I kind of wrote a song that's pretty much my what if song. It's called If This Is It.
No time to say goodbye. I'll just leave a little note that you might read, the words I wrote. If this is it, 'cause you just don't know. You have no say when it's your time to go. I wish you joy, and I wish you peace. If for one of us all should cease, this too perhaps will someday pass. But if this should be our parting glass, may it go down smooth, may it leave you warm till we meet again in another form. And if the road has run out, I hope somewhere a seed will sprout that I might have dropped and never knew. Maybe I planted it someplace for you. This is it, and my work is done, and I don't finish what I've begun. I'll let them go, just like balloons, the unsung words and the unplayed tunes. My aim was true. Every verse I wrote, every chord I struck, every single note, every mile I drove was to come see you. There's no such thing, it's just passing through. So if this is it, my last song, it's meant to be sung just before the dawn, when you still see stars and it's getting light, and you're ready to call it pretty good night. You still see stars and it's getting light, and you're ready to call it pretty good night.
Thank you, Chuck Brodsky. You know, you never cease to surprise us with your amazing and plain-spoken discoveries and the stories you unveil, including your own story. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
And by the way, as you are...
Doesn't he have another song?
Does he have another song?
Yeah.
My bad. Thank you, David.
Uh-huh.
Thanks, David. Thanks for, you got my back, buddy. So, you know, in the way we've become so polarized over the last decade or so, it's kind of gotten impossible to persuade anybody, convince anybody to change their minds about anything that they believe to be true, even if you present them with facts. And I have certainly tried on numerous occasions to change people's minds, and nothing has ever worked. No technique has ever worked. But I think I have come up with a possible way that may be effective. I'm going to run this by you, and you let me know what you think.
After 3 or 4 tries, I poked out his eyes. That's how I got him to see get him to hear, I screamed in his ear, I gave him the 3rd degree. I sharply berated him and told him I hated him. I wasn't very kind. I shouted and cussed until I won his trust. That's how I changed his mind. I shunned him, ignored him, I wouldn't look toward him, I only would give him my back. I accused him of lies I would not compromise. I erased him after the fact. I was abrupt, I would often interrupt. We were volatile when combined. And in stating my case, I blew up in his face. And that's how I changed his mind. That's how I changed his mind. That's how I changed his mind. Blamed him, shamed him, insulted and inflamed him. That's how I changed his mind. Now this man was an ass. I was gonna let him pass, let him take a wide berth of me. But I was right and he was wrong, like I was telling him all along, trying to just get him to see. But he's a this and I'm a that, so we couldn't have a chat of the friendly, civilized kind. Round after round, I just ground him down, and that's how I changed his mind. I stomped on his toes and I punched him in the nose. I was using irony. So sure of the truth, I knocked out his tooth and I kicked him twice in the knee. I won over his heart with a poisonous dart. You should have seen me unwind, being overly cruel and with ridicule. Oh, that's how I changed his mind. That's how I changed his mind. That's how I changed his mind. Blamed him, shamed him, insulted and inflamed him. That's how I changed his mind. So I called him a fool, challenged him to a duel, threw my white glove in his face. 20 paces and I shot, and I must have hit the spot. Anyway, that's how I pleaded my case. Well, I won in the end, after making him bend, and after all the papers were signed. In the end, I won, and that's how it was done. That's how I changed his mind. That's how I changed his mind. That's how I changed his mind. Blamed him, shamed him, insulted and inflamed him. That's how I changed his mind. Yes, I blamed him, shamed him, I might have even maimed him. That's how I changed his mind. That's how I changed his mind. That's how I changed his mind. That's how I changed his mind.
Wow. Oh, yeah, that brave songwriting and tough love from Chuck Brodsky. You know, Chuck, I think maybe you'll only get half the people with that technique. That is a marvelous, marvelous example of just the kind of thing we expect and love from Chuck Brodsky. And by the way, more Chuck Brodsky on the recent Gravity, Wings, and Heavy Things album. Wow. Thank you for that. And Chuck, I promised you that I would tell people what's behind me. I am sitting in my husband's office in Chicago. He is an author, a history author, and in particular has a project that he's been working on for many, many years called The Ghost Army. And what you see that looks like a hockey puck is actually a collection of challenge coins that come from exchanges when you meet members of different military units. They pass these on to you as a remembrance of the meeting. But I did also bring into the history office my Greenwich Village mementos as well. I have the Dave Van Ronk, Peter and the Wolf album sitting right beside me, and also my Janice Ian album as well. So I just thought I should bring those in here to put everybody in the spirit of Greenwich Village, which is also a good time to remind everybody that this is a free service to the community, this concert, and this whole series each month. But there is a tip jar, and you can go to the Greenwich Village Folk.org website and support all the artists. So, you know, speaking of artists, well, you know, sometimes it's just not fair, right? Maybe a person has mastered the very difficult and delicate art of stop motion animation, and that in itself.
All right, we are back. Sorry, everybody, for the technical details, but here's Antje Duvekot again.
Okay, you want me to play the whole song again? Okay.
Yeah, start from the beginning.
Yeah,
Sorry,
sure.
for everybody who's watching, we had a little power failure.
Yeah,
I think we're back, so
that.
we don't want to miss that beautiful song. If you could start it again, that'd be great.
We almost got through it. But it's a song about a road trip, and road trips are long, so we'll go on that road trip again. This is called Long Way. We bid our friends goodbye, promised we would write them, and headed north up 95. Into the great unknown we turned up our stereo, and I felt so reckless and alive. We didn't know who we would be, we didn't know where we would end up when we headed down that road. Little food and our guitars in the backseat in that old cello, the one that will get stolen in a town in Idaho. It's a long way to Tennessee and back, and it's a long way. And it's a long way, clouds upon our backs, and it's a long, 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 long way. I have never seen reflections of the cleanest of blue as the Minnesota lakes. Those were the longest nights of wood smoke and northern lights as we talked until the morning came. The light of glowing embers, as sweet as I remember, among the rustling of the trees. Legend of the harvest moon and the sweet ballad of the loon. I felt as ancient as I was meant to be. It's a long way to Tennessee and back, and it's a long way. It's a long way, clouds upon our backs, and it's a long, 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 long way. Called you from a payphone in windy, cold Missoula, and then from Midland in the rain. No place as proud and sad as the South Dakota Badlands that touched me more than I could explain. Under poor reservation, where the Oglala Nation tries to hang on to its ways. Feather and peyote pipe, a six-pack of Miller Lite sits on the dashboard of a beat-up Chevrolet, and it's a long way to Washington and back, and it's a long way. It's a long way, the clouds upon our backs, and it's a long, 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 long way. Out in California, we touched the other ocean, and I still have that jar of sand. In the Arizona desert, the sky goes on forever. You've never seen a thing as grand. And North Montana was cold, she keeps her secrets frozen under glacier it's a long way to Delaware and back, and it's a long way. It's a long way on the worn out heels of Kerouac. It's a long, 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 long way. Thank you.
Thank you, Antje. Thank you so much. That's a beautiful song. And we apologize for those folks listening. We obviously had some technical issues, some power issues. I think we're back. Fingers crossed. But I'm sorry that happened. But please check out Antje's website. She was just such an amazing artist, and we're so happy that she could be with us tonight. And we're so happy all of you could be with us, and we're glad you're back. And, you know, the Greenwich Village Folk Festival was founded in 1987 to honor the music and legacy of the village's music. And those were some amazing years for music in the village, a community of artists creating a scene with some real deep roots. And today, well, we're seeing the fruits of what was planted back then. One of the artists whose music really touched me was created by our next guest. I remember the first time I saw him at Speakeasy. He was dressed in a white suit, playing an instrument that was different from all those guitar slingers who dominated the folk scene. He was creating contemporary folk music that expanded on traditional styles. His songs would be recorded by the Roaches, Joan Baez, and many others, and he's still creating powerful songs. And he's also a prolific author and illustrator of pocket-sized children's books. It's fitting that in 2016, the Southern Folklife Collection at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill invited David to contribute his works to their archive, alongside collections of works by Dave Van Ronk, Bill Morrissey, and Mike Seeger. He's no stranger to the Greenwich Village Folk Festival, and we're always privileged that when he can join us. Please welcome David Massengill.
All right. Thank you so much. You know, I've been thinking about everybody being so mad at each other. The thing I kind of like to do on Facebook is I like to watch the way people help animals that are caught in a fence, or whales got too much stuff on them and they got to cut it loose. And sometimes it's hunters that hunt the people, but they don't want to shoot them because it's not fair. And so they manage to, like, elephants and wolves and all sorts of things. That makes me feel good. It makes me like humanity. Thinks there's a spot for it. So this is a song about animals, a little animal, and my heart went out to it. I couldn't help it. It's a true story. Jack Hardy offered me his place, and something happened that I had to do it. So here it goes. A mouse that drowned in a commode. Though we weren't acquainted, I wrote it this ode. What we had in common, a man and a mouse. Well, for one thing, we were both guests of the house. Mouse, my friend was away, but left his door unlocked. Though by force of habit, politely I knocked. Then I went inside to make use of the house, and discovered, alas, a poor drowned a mouse. Mouse, mouse, picked up the mouse by its wee tiny tail. Its wee hands and feet were piteously frail. That I mourn a stranger, you may find it odd. But you see, I believe a beneficent God. Mouse, mouse, I fashioned a cross out of cornstalk and twine. Right there in the garden I built a small shrine. Though my choice of coffin was unorthodox, as I tucked the mouse in a Cracker Jack box. Mouse, mouse, I hope when I die there will be someone there who, though they don't know me, will tenderly care. The funeral procession was me and some birds. Though it may seem profane, I said a few words. I said, mouse, mouse, hey, mouse. All right, now I'm going to do a fairy song. I've been entranced by fairies. Here's one of my drawings. You can see there's a bunch of fairies. There they are. And I wrote a whole fairy adventure. And it's sort of called, it's got a weird name. Now I'm going to call it To Save a Tree, because when I was a kid, some trees... an apple tree got cut down, and it broke my heart. And so I wrote 4 CDs of combining stories with songs. It's 4.5 hours. 4.5 hours. So all the people that I've asked to read it, and you know, they sort of groan and never quite get back to me. But to me, it's my highest achievement. Because I went back in time and I saved a tree, and it's going to be called To Save a Tree. This is one of the songs from it. There was a fella that wrote a bunch of fairy stories that I read his essay about fairies, and he said, you just make up your own stuff. So this is what fairies are like. This is called the Fairies Code. You know, it's supposed to be on my other dulcimer. I just realized. I'm glad I sort of got that. Here's my other dulcimer. Yeah. And it's in a different tuning. That's why something was telling me. All right, here we go. And this is a beautiful dulcimer, Edsel Martin dulcimer, beautiful carving of a woman singing. Here we go. Fairies do not calculate how many peekaboos it takes to mystify a passerby. Must have been a butterfly. Fairies do not sharpen sticks or take your lollipop's last licks. But sometimes fairies do play tricks when you can't blow out candle wicks. Fairies like to dine on earth, dance barefoot upon the earth. You can catch them when they fly out of the corner of your eye. Fairies like to take moon baths, whistle whenever they cross paths. Fairies like to ride peacocks, wearing cobweb stocking socks. Fairies do tell little white lies, but there's no scratching out of eyes. Fairies do not tit for tat, they leave that to man and rat. Fairies do not believe, boy, they would rather jump for joy. Smaller than a baby's hand, fairies make a merry band. Fairies do not calculate how many peekaboos it takes to mystify a passerby. Must have been a butterfly. Must have been a butterfly. And before I forget, I've got to change dulcimers again back to this other one. The right tuning and everything. Let's see. Let me make sure it's safe. There we go. Now, this is the first song. This is a hound dog on a head. Edsel Martin made these beautiful dulcimers. They were all had figures on the head. Yeah. Bill Morrissey used to say, because I had the woman singing, because he said she might be yawning if she's heard me sing. So, Miss Bill. And I miss Jack Hardy. The first song was Jack Hardy. He had let me stay at his place, and that's where I found that little mouse. Now, I don't know if anybody out there believes in God. I kind of have this thing where I believe in, when I walk at night, I look out at the stars. There's all these stars, thousands of stars, and I go, must be God, must be God. I don't have a one true God, but I have the God of the 1,000 million stars out there. And when I was a kid, I used to love the stories in the Bible. This is a retelling of one of those stories. I've retold it several songs. Sometimes people get mad at me. They think I'm making fun, but I'm not. And this one has a few little things in it, but if you listen to it, you can be a true believer and appreciate this song, I'm told. It's called The Return. Noah was a rocket scientist in the year of our Lord, the Iron Fist, and everywhere was heard the absence of the word. The earth was filled with violence and hate, but Noah would not give in to fate. Noah looked at his computer screen, and he saw there's something he had never seen. A message from above, sign from God with love. You better build a giant rocket ship and prepare to take a long, long trip. Gather up all creatures great and small, those that fly, those that walk and crawl, those that swim the sea. Include each kind of tree, of each grain that on this earth you feed. Carefully lay in a store of seed. Of each living thing you must bring two, both male and female, the oh-so shoe. And though the skies are clear, I know the end is near. On second thought, you better make that 3 to ensure each possibility. Noah, my friend, here we go again. Somewhere in space and time, you'll find a key to this home of mine. So Noah sent out a press release. Last chance for the world to live in peace. When God plays pantomime, we're running out of time. The leaders of the world would not repent, and they all ignored his sad lament. So Noah quit his job and went to work, while the world went from bad to berserk. Just like in days of old, the center does not hold, but there was some who joined him in his quest. The stupid, the crazy, the dispossessed. He freed the animals from testing labs, his crew from New York City taxicabs, and with a wanted ad, he found a launching pad. His rocket ship was built by many hands, and each pair from a different land. At last they were ready to embark. Noah raised his voice above the ark. He aimed for a black hole as he prayed for each soul. A meteor flew by as he looked back, and he thought he saw a nuclear attack. Noah, my friend, here we go again. Somewhere in space and time, you'll find a key to this home of mine. Across the universe to yesteryear, suspended animation was in gear. And when they all woke up in need of a pick-me-up, after 40 billion days and nights, you know a cup of Java would be nice. Noah looked upon the vast immense, and he felt within his being a sixth sense. The deeper that he flew, a sense of deja vu, onto the second star to the right, and straight on until the morning light. Now when their course was nearly done, the third planet from the seventh sun, while circling the globe, Noah sent back a probe. It came back a dove from Galilee, holding the branch of an olive tree. So now we return for the first time, the sweet breath of a familiar clime. Noah picked up a leaf, then he sighed in relief. In the eyes of the Lord we find grace, the end of our search for a birthplace. Noah, my friend, here we go again. Somewhere in space and time, you'll find a key to this heart of mine.
Our whole universe in those songs, from a mouse to, well, the whole universe. Thank you, David Massengill. You know, here's what I'd like to know. Could everybody who's watching, could we all meet up in a cabin and just have you tell us story after story after story?
That'd
That would be a dream.
fun.
David, could you also, if you're still on, if you're not muted yet, please.
I'm not muted.
Where can we find your music most easily? What's the easiest
Well, the
way to
best
follow you
way,
around?
because I still like CDs and I still make CDs. I haven't gotten into the new thing. I'm that guy that said, get a horse. That's 100 years ago. I love CDs. I don't know why everybody threw them away. But so you can write me by it's best doing my email. Facebook, it's too filled up and I can't write back to people on Facebook anymore. I've got to fix that. But on my email, you can write me and a fella just sent me, I sent him unpurposefully, I sent him the second CD of that little the fairy saga, where I read a chapter and then I sing a song, 24 of them. Well, he got the second one. And he listened to it thinking it was something else, but he went ahead and listened to it. And he wrote me an email and he said, I got to find out what happened to that tree and the fairies. And so I just sent it to him, back to him. So anybody that sends me my email, it's David W. Massengill at gmail.com.
David W. Massengill at gmail.com. Okay.
2 S's, 2 L's.
Right.
And you can just say, I want to hear that. And I sell them real cheap. 4 CDs, $20. 4 CDs.
Okay.
4.5 hours. But all my other stuff is pretty cheap too. But if you write me, I can make copies. If I don't have them anymore, I'll make copies on my computer and send them. And also my little books, books with the little fairy things.
Great. So we know how to find you. Thank you so much.
You can find me and pester me, and I'll get out to you. And also I'll play gigs if people want me to.
All right.
It's a little tough out there right now, though.
Well, we'll see if we can find that log cabin in the hills and
I really appreciate
gather together.
This is the one program that has consistently had me play, and I know I'm a little rusty, but I still love to play and sing and tell stories. So let's get back to going.
Great,
yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Well, you know how we're always looking for something to give you a little jolt of energy, right? And sometimes you want kind of that snap of a delightful surprise, right? What's new? Is this different? And then I know that the people who are watching, you are lovers of music and you really appreciate an artist who attends to every detail with all their hearts and the craft of the art as well, and somebody who puts the listener first. Well, all of those desires were satisfied when I first heard an album called Kisby Ring. Unusual title, unusual and phenomenal artist. So now I get to say hello almost in person and get to introduce you to Abby Posner.
Wow, thank you so much. That's a beautiful, beautiful intro, and it's a pleasure to meet you as well. What an amazing lineup of artists tonight. Let's just go ahead and give everybody a big, big round of applause for everybody tonight. What a great, great lineup.
This right. right at any cost. I've been picking up the pieces. The pieces we have left. I don't want to go to Evergreen. I'm not gonna go to Evergreen.
Playing all new songs tonight. I'm releasing a record in the fall, and these are all going to be tunes from that album. The record's going to be called Second Chances, and this tune is called Darkest Hours.
Cry anymore with the tears I have left, and I'm tired of sitting with myself in this handmade mess. I just wanna fix this, oh, but I don't know how. They say you gotta give it some time. Nothing can change right now. So I've got to pray through these arms that will guide me. And I've got to love a little harder than I've ever before. Will you forgive me for my darkest hours? Honey, I was born to be yours, and you were meant for me. Oh, I broke my own heart to 1,000 tiny pieces. Well, I cracked my whole world wide open. Now I finally see. Am I too late? Oh, to come back to you. You see, I'm never leaving you again. Honey, that's the truth. So I've got to pray with these arms that will guide me. And I've got to love a little harder than I've ever before. Will you forgive me? Oh, will you forgive me for my darkest hours? Honey, I was born to be yours, and you were meant for me. be yours, and you were meant for me. 'Cause honey, I was born to be yours, and you were meant for me.
Thank you for the support, you guys. I'm going to do one more song, and this one is about some wild dreams that I've been having. I think since the pandemic, I've noticed I've been talking to a lot of my friends, and I feel like we've all just been, our dreams have been kind of accentuated. I don't know if anyone else can relate, but sometimes it's hard to tell what's real and what's not. So this one's called Night Train. Thanks again, and please do check out abbyposner.com. And I still am a firm believer in CDs too. Buy from the artist, you know, get vinyl, get CDs, go to all the local artist pages and support indie art. So thank you. Take me to the other side. Well, I'm getting on my night train. Gonna get that night train state of mind. Came in like a ghost, running round in my head. I was stuck in the thoughts, tossing in my bed. You told me you were done, then you became a stone, and I was lost. Woke up missing you again. Take a walk through that fire, babe. I hope I make it out this time. Take a walk through that fire, babe. I hope I make it out alive. You took me by the hand, kissed me like a soldier, buried in the woods, but I kept growing older. You stayed young and strong, I disappeared before long. I woke up still holding on. Well, I've got dreams that take me for a ride. What if they become my waking take me to the other side. Yeah, I'm getting on that night train. Gonna take that night train state of mind. Thank you guys so much. I'm also going to Southeast. There. Thank you.
Thank you, Abby. Wow. That was terrific. Listen, I don't know if everybody could hear you over all that applause at the end, but I think you mentioned you're going to be doing a tour in the Southeast this coming the end of the month and into May. You'll be in North Carolina, Tennessee, Alabama, South Carolina. So check out Abby's website, abbyposner.com. And I can't wait for that new album to come out. Wow, that was a great preview. Well, again, I want to remind everybody about our tip jar. If you can help us out, this is a free concert. It's our gift to the community, and you're hearing some great performers tonight. And if you'd like to help support us so we can keep this going every month, as we've been doing since the pandemic began in 2020, you can look at in our chat feature. We have lists and links to the tip jar, or just go to GreenwichVillageFolkFestival.org, and you can see a link how you can donate and help support the artists and help support this festival. And the music will keep on coming. Well, our next performer is one of Canada's most enduring and literate songwriters, and also producer. He's also an inspiration for young guitar fans and emerging singer-songwriters for his styles that bridges blues and country music traditions. Now, while he may be a staple of the Canadian folk community, his roots are here in the U.S. He was born in Maryland, spent his early life absorbing the Washington, D.C. music scene, which at that time was vibrant with bluegrass and country blues. He learned to play guitar and mandolin from John Duffy, who was one of the founding members of the Country Gentlemen and the Seldom Scene. And he also met and learned from legends like Mississippi John Hurt and Skip James. Well, he's been living in Canada since 1971, performing at coffee houses, venues, and all of the prominent Canadian folk festivals, including Mariposa, Vancouver, Winnipeg, and Edmonton Fest, just to name a few. And during his 52 years as a performing artist, he's recorded 23 albums of his own work, produced over 100 albums for others, and in addition, he's hosted radio shows for the CBC. He's also an accomplished writer of fiction, publishing his novel Dancing Hand in 2013, and more recently a collection called Fair Hands. It's a collection of short stories based on narratives from 13 of his songs, and he also recorded an album of those songs to accompany the book. We are thrilled that he could be with us tonight. Please welcome David Essig.
Thank you so much. That was great. Thank you. With a look of quiet in his eye, I gave that man my dollars, as to myself I say, there but for the grace of God go I. Yeah, there but for the grace, oh, there but for the grace that's shining down upon me from on high. I gave that man my dollars, as to myself I said, there but for the grace of God go Now the desperate one found out swinging from a raptor in the shade. They cut him down so rigid and so dry. How many times have I stood in that same place and said, there but for the grace of God go I. Yeah, there but for the grace, oh, there but for the grace that's shining down upon me from on high. How many times have I stood in that same place and said, there but for the grace of God go I. And life will send you spinning like a ball upon the wheel, with those complex laws and numbers to defy. It'll send you down a middle path so beautiful and real, and there with the grace of God go I. Yeah, there but for the grace, oh, there but for the grace, it's shining down upon me from on high. How many times have I stood in that same place and said, there but for the grace of God, there but for the grace of God, there but for the grace of God go I. So that's an old song that I wrote. Oh, thank you guys so much. I wrote many years ago, and this is another. I went to undergraduate school to got my BA from George Washington University in Washington, D.C. And there was a bar at DuPont Circle that we all used to go to. And I wrote this song about it. And when I came to Canada, 1971, keeper, right? This was when I came to Canada in 1971. This was the only song I'd written that I thought was good enough to play for anybody. He said he'd studied medicine, and we could call him Doc. He said he knew religion, and he told us all of God. He told us what we needed, and we saw what he got. He was down inside of Flo's Cafe. She said her name was Jennifer. It was the name she liked to use. She said she come from Denver, where she got the walking blues. And she left with a man down in Louisville, but you could never choose when you were down inside of Flo's Cafe. Oh, you could not go unnoticed inside that small cafe. And many times she told us she had planned it that way, down inside of Flo's Cafe. Now Flo herself, we never really got to know her well. She mostly seemed to worry about what she had to sell. But she had a son in the military prison, and you could never tell when you were down inside of Flo's Cafe. Oh, you could not go unnoticed inside that small cafe. And many times she told us she had planned it that way, down inside of Flo's Cafe. And me, I just keep sitting here with all the friends I've known, for it seems like years I've heard their songs. Where have the good times gone? And I just wish Flo would take me home, 'cause we all live alone when we are down inside of Flo's Cafe. Oh, you could not go unnoticed inside that small cafe. Many times she told us she had planned it that way, down inside of Flo's Cafe. Oh, you could not go unnoticed inside that small cafe. Many times she told us she had planned it that way, down inside of Flo's Cafe. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. This is a great experience to do this. I'm sitting here looking out the window at the Salish Sea in British Columbia, and you guys are spread all over North America, and it's just a marvel of technology in our modern age. This is one of the good parts of this thing. So I'm so glad to be able to share this with you. I really especially enjoyed the song about being on the road that the young woman sang early, Antje. That was a really cool song, and it kind of is like a lot of the songs we have here in Canada, in that it really is informed by the landscape or the place where things happen. We call it the landscape of the imagination so much of the time, and that's what this song is about. And I wanted to especially play this one for you because that Flo's Cafe was the first song I ever wrote that I could play in public, and this is the most recent song I've written. So these songs, that one and this one, are going to span 53 years of songwriting. Whoa. That's better. On the spur line to hell, there's a prairie hotel where the waitress still remembers your name. And she blows you a kiss, 'cause the lobby smells like piss. It's the last stop on the train. You go up to your room with that Lysol perfume and the towels so neatly arranged. And there's a sign on the door. It says you've been here before, and it's the last stop on the train. And it's cold and it's clear, And the night last all year was a long way from Portage and Maine. And they slowed it all down when the co-op left town. That's the last stop on the train. Yeah, it's cold and it's clear, and the night lasts all year. It's a long way from Portage and Maine. But they slowed it all down when the co-op left town. It's the last stop on the train. There's a guy down the hall put his fist through the wall when his girlfriend failed to explain why she gave it away, 'cause the slots never pay, and that's the last stop on the train. And it's cold and it's clear, and the night lasts all year. It's a long way from Portage and Maine. Man, they closed it all down when the co-op left town, and that's the last stop on the train. And down in the bar is an aging country star, and I know he'll be quick to explain. Oh, he's sure to let you know about the night he met Hank Snow. It's the last stop on the train. And it's cold and it's clear. What am I doing here? It's a long way from Portage and Maine. And they slowed it all down when the co-op left town. It's the last stop on the train. Yeah, it's cold and it's clear. What am I doing here? It's a long way from Portage and Maine. And they slowed it all down when the co-op left town. It's the last stop on the train. Yeah, they slowed it all down when the co-op left town. It's the last stop on the train. There you go.
Hot stuff.
Wow. Wow. That is a revelation. And every time you hear the playing of David Essig, that will be a revelation. And you hear the strains as if those strings are channeling the spirits of all the folks who came before. And David, gotta thank you for what you're doing to pass the marvelous, marvelous music that you bring through you to all of us. Wow. And davidessig.com is where you can channel your own David Essig. That's ESSIG. Thank you so much for that. And if you want to channel more Greenwich Village Folk Festival, don't forget that tip jar is going to keep us coming month after month after month with wonderful, wonderful lineup every time. My name's Marilyn Ray Beyer. I've been honored to be part of this august group of musicians and friends and all of the marvelous folks who are out there viewing and absorbing all these great songs and musicians. And I could say that This final artist we're going to hear tonight is a gentleman who needs no introduction. But then that would rob me of the opportunity to express our collective gratitude for the many ways that he has inspired us and kicked our artistic butts to throw caution to the wind and go for it. A Renaissance man, a composer of every possible musical form, a promoter of native music, a friend of Jack Kerouac, and in my heart, most important because of his friendship with Steve Goodman here in Chicago. This man is an inventor of songs and an advocate for the role of folk music in American culture that has been transformative for the music. His conversations on every subject under the sun are invigorating. Now, if you have never met him, get yourself to Birdland in New York on April 20th so you can say, honestly, I saw David Amram. Take it away, David.
Well, thank you. I'd just like to express my thanks to you for what you're doing in Chicago, for Rod, who's keeping the beautiful spirit of Greenwich Village alive. I played the very, very first folk festival, and all the people here tonight just reminded me of how precious it is to have all of you here in 2022 being creative, daring to be brave enough to do your whole life what you love to do. And that's a very important thing. Whether or not society acknowledges it is totally beside the point. And if you don't believe me, turn on any network news program for one night and you'll be reinforced that there are better things happening than are necessarily put on the plate as the bill of fare for everyone that particular day. When I was down playing the very, very first Greenwich Village Folk Festival, I was with Odetta all afternoon. They were doing a symphony piece of mine, and she said, let's go out to celebrate. So we went down to McDougal Street and Bleecker Street and stood in one place for about 7 hours just talking to people who walked by. And so many of them, like myself, were getting a crash course in what we now call world music. You could hear Middle Eastern music, jazz, Latin music, folk music from the British Isles, Native American performers who weren't playing any place except there, and so many kinds of music. And she said to me, Ramy, remember, whatever genre you choose to express yourself in, and you know, I started out as an opera singer until Jo Mapes lent me her guitar and started taking me around when I was in Finian's Rainbow, and then I became what everyone knows today. But whatever you do, she said, folk is the root of the tree. So for all of you who love what you're doing, if you see someone who might be in symphony music, jazz, or a victim of 60 years of pop schlock oppression, ripping young people off of their well-deserved money for the week before throwing that into the trash heap for the next thing, just remember that thing of beauty is a joy forever, and that any of us who also work in different genres are not there because we're slumming. I go to the folk festivals to reinvigorate myself and remind me what I still hope at 91 to be someday, to keep it for real and go right from the heart to the people's hearts that I'm composing for or playing for, because that's what folk musicians do all the time. That's what's so beautiful about it. And there are folks all over the world that have been doing that, sometimes for thousands of years. It's always changing, but it's always authentic if it's from the heart. So after that unsolicited infomercial on everything, I'm going to take one of the great folk instruments, and I began playing this just for fun when I was accompanying Ramblin' Jack Elliott and the French horn was driving me crazy, I would take out the penny whistle. And I not only played with Dizzy Gillespie and other wonderful people who enjoyed that, but also with some of the great traditional players. So this is one I just kind of came up with. I used to play with Pete Seeger all the time and hundreds of times on the little D penny whistle. Just a little theme and variations on a great folk song, Amazing Grace. Institute, but it's just taken from all the wonderful ways that people do play and embellish music, starting off with something simple and then basing anything on it. You all know that anyway, because that's what you do, and that's what you were doing to expand and create a new feeling for folkloric music, which defies the laws of gravity by always continuing. The next one is going to be another great folk instrument with some words from an experience when I was in Chengdu, China, and I heard the hulose being played, which was quite an experience. And I was about to go back to Putnam Valley on the farm that I lived over in New York, and I was looking out the window just thinking what an amazing thing it was to get the chance to be there. And I saw a whole bunch of bicycles going out the window, and I was watching. Suddenly I saw a bicycle going by, and I saw someone's eyes. And I said, wow. I was sure that I'd seen that person somewhere before. So I wrote this out on the back of a napkin, and I made it into a song and a sing-along, but it was so long that I figured it would be better to do it this way. It's called My Buddha Angel in Chengdu. It's 5 a.m. in Chengdu, China. I can't sleep a wink. Staring out the window, water drips on dishes in the sink. A bike goes by, a young gal sits side saddle on the back. Looks like Buddha's angel, sent from heaven, dressed in black. She glances up. Her dark eyes make the morning seem to come to life. Suddenly I realize, long ago, this angel was my wife. Wanted now to tell her when we married so many years ago that I never would have left her if I knew then what I now know. Waited for what seemed 1,000 years to see those eyes again. Hoping that someday I could tell her that our love would never end. Never dared to tell her then because of all the love we shared. It was more than I could handle, although I really cared. Now it's many lifetimes later here in Chengdu, 5 a.m. My favorite wife from an earlier life, the sweetest one of all of them. Once she told me that in our lifetime our true love would never die, and that even if I left her, Buddha's angel still would fly. Now she tells me broken hearts will heal themselves in time, and that all the pain I caused her now is gone, except for mine. And now in Chengdu, through the window, she's come back to me again, riding on the back seat of a bicycle, side saddled with her friend. Guess that since she passed me by, there's only one thing more I can do. Get myself a new bike and a bicycle built for two. When in this reincarnation, when I found a brand new bride, maybe I'll find out it's still Buddha's angel riding by my side, telling me wherever we have been and through whichever life, through all our reincarnations, she has always been my wife. Now it's 7 in the morning, Chengdu streets are filled with light. Now I'm staring out the window as the day is growing bright. Waiting by the window, need to see my true love's eyes once again when she rides by on her bicycle, side saddled with her friend. and I'll tell her that I love her. This time, I'll know what to do. Waiting by the window for my angel in Chengdu. Wow. Thank you. Now for something a little more cheerful. This was by the great songwriter that we all know and love from Greenwich Village. Actually, he was from the Midwest, but he moved to Greenwich Village. And I usually play when I'm gone, when I'm playing with my jazz group, and usually play the piano. But since we're not hooked up for that due to my technological lack of everything, I'm using instruments that can be done without the multi-whatever that you need to do all that stuff. Having had a Zoom program for a year, I became like an octopus contortionist of trying to almost stand on my head so that you could hear three things at the same time. But that's the nice thing about writing symphonies. You can just sit back as a nerd, fly on the wall, and let everybody else do it and just have the music be what it's about. So I said to Phil, you know, all the different things that I did when we were just making up stuff, I said, you know, that song Chords of Fame, such a terrific song. And it's almost like some of those old songs that you could hear, field songs, where you didn't have any instruments, you just had somebody hollering. And he said, well, try and do it that way. So I did, and he liked it. So I don't know if I've ever done this many times since, except when I was with Dave Massengill. We're at the Greenwich Village Trip Festival, and we did it there. So this is it. It's called The Chords of Fame. And it's a wonderful thing for all of you young folks and people even approaching my many years, just to think about values. He was writing about that when it seemed that there were no values except tripling your income each week. And somehow Phil realized there was something in music and life more important than that. And what happens to you if you succumb to that fate that other people think you should be in order not to be what you want to be. Chords of Fame. I found him by the stage last night. He was breathing his last breath. A bottle of gin and a cigarette was all that he had left. I see you make the music 'cause you carry a guitar, but God help the troubadour who tries to be a star. So play the chords of love, my friend. Play the chords of pain. If you want to keep your song, don't play the chords of fame. I've seen my share of hustlers as they try to take the world. When they find the melody, they're surrounded by the girls. But it all fades so quickly, like a sunny summer day. Reporters ask you questions, and they write down what you say. So play the chords of love, my friend. Play the chords of pain. If you want to keep your song, don't play the chords of fame. So play the chords of love, my friend. Play the chords of pain. If you want to keep your song, don't play the chords of fame. They will rob you of your innocence. They'll put you up for sale. More than you will find success, the more that you will fail. I've been around, I've had my share. I really can't complain. But I wonder who I left behind on the other side of fame. So play the chords of love, my friend. Play the chords of pain. And if you want to keep your song, don't play the chords of fame. Thank you for that thunderous applause, and thank you, Phil Oakes, for writing those great words. Something for us to think about. And a lot of my old friends, Dave Massengill, whom I've admired for so long, Dave Essig, and a whole bunch of younger people I've never heard for the first time, and all of you who've worked so hard, Rod McDonald and everyone, Ray and everyone else who's worked so hard to put this together. A big thank you. And since some people did go way past the 15 minutes, I'm going to cool it and skip the encore and the valedictorian cosmic address. Hope that all of you will continue, certainly until your 100th birthday. And at that point, if you really can't do it, well, then it's time to go out and get a job. But in the meantime, keep on keeping on. What you were put here to do is the thing to pursue. And for those people who desire you to be something that they never wanted to be in the first place, that's their constitutional right to tell you how much you suck and what a waste of time it is to be in the arts. But after you receive all that sage counseling, hang out with somebody else.
Oh, amen.
All right.
Thank you, David Amram. Wow, that is so beautiful to be in your presence tonight. And if I make it to my 100th birthday, I want you to sing at it, Dave, because I know you'll still be going strong too.
I'll be ready, and as they say, my bags are packed.
Wow.
Hey, we'd follow you anywhere, David.
That's right. Oh, Marilyn,
all you good guitar players out there, holy cow, the young woman who was playing guitar at the end and all the people before that were just so amazing. I just sit there when I go to the NERFA and I go to the International Folk Festival, the one they had in Kansas City, and there are people from all over the world playing music. Thousands of people that are just so darn good. You say, well, for a dying art form, it ain't bad.
Well, it's still growing through strong with inspiration like you, David. Thank you so much for being here tonight. And Marilyn, what a night this has been.
I'm spinning and floating all at once. Thank you all. You're just, every single one of these performances just lifted me, and I know everybody who is listening and everyone who will go back and view it again. Wonderful. Thank you.
Definitely. Well, let's thank them. We start off the evening with Matt Watroba, also Rachael Sage, Michael McNevin, Friction Farm, Chuck Brodsky, Antje Duvekot, David Massengill, Abby Posner, David Essig, and of course David Amram. And it was just spectacular. I mean, and this was all live tonight too, folks. Obviously, we had some technical issues, but that was the beauty of all of this. To watch people go through this and give us such incredible performances. And Marilyn, to be able to co-host with you is just such an honor.
My buddy, Rob, it's so great.
I can't wait till we do it again. And speaking of doing it again, next month, May 7th, I want everybody to mark your calendars. We're still working on the lineup, but so far appearing will be Rachel Garland, Jackson Emmer, Joe Jenks, Kate Taylor, Daniel Kaner, and Tom Prasado Rao. Some old favorites, some new ones, and it's going to be fun. And of course, before we end tonight, I do want to thank the wonderful crew that puts all this together. Brandon O'Sullivan, our sound person extraordinaire, who dealt with so many issues tonight. We thank him so much for being here. He's a treasure. And this event is put together by Rod MacDonald, Ray Mysick, Andrea Klosky, and Jerry Kornbluth, and of course all of you folks out there who watch and support and go to our tip jar. You make it possible for us to be here each month, and it's one of the events that I look forward to every week, every month. So I wish we could do it every week. Maybe one day. We'll see how it goes. Well, anyway, Marilyn, again, it's such a thrill to be with you tonight, and we'll see you again real soon. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great night. See you soon.